takes the form of 3 short plays, all of which have been written by members of the group. The Chronicle and The Gym were both written and directed by Stephanie Artress. The Judge's Chamber was written by Bev Corby and has been adapted from her original story and will be performed as a radio play with her as narrator. The observant amongst you will notice that there is an absence of male members of the group. Our only male has recently been married and has been unable to attend the past few weeks. So, we ask you to stretch your imagination and a little where the male roles are concerned. We will finalise the evening with a selection of poems chosen by each of the group members, after which we hope you will enjoy a cup of tea or coffee and a homemade cake or two, which will be available from the kitchen for a small charge. If you have enjoyed your evening, donations to enable us to continue further productions would be gratefully received. Thank you all very much for coming to support us, and we begin our evening with The Chronicle.
Nice cup of tea. As you always say, the cup that cheers but never inebriates.
So
That's lovely.
oh, well, I know we've been friends for a very long time, but I'm sure there's something wrong. Tell me to mind my own business if you like, but I'm here to listen if it's any help at all.
No, you're right. There is something. I've met someone. I've been so lonely since Bob died. I didn't plan to meet anyone. I didn't go out looking for anyone. I didn't think that I would ever meet anyone else. When Bob died, I gave up my job to sort of reevaluate my life, but I couldn't just do nothing. So I volunteered at the hospital where Bob was, and that's where I met him.
So, this man, he's not married or anything, is he?
No. He's a widower. About my age, I think.
So, what's the problem?
Well, every time I think that we're getting a little bit closer, he seems to withdraw. It's as if he's not interested.
Oh, I don't know, maybe you need to stand back a bit, make some new friends, look for a job. If he's really interested, he's going to find a way.
Well, I really like this man. We've got lots and lots in common. And we can talk about anything and everything. He was in the most terrible fire, so he was in hospital for a very long time, being treated for burns. And we had plenty of time to get to know one another. We were getting on like a house on fire. That's a terrible thing to say.
Well, never mind. What about finding a job? Sure. Maybe that would be the way to go.
Might be difficult at my age.
Well,
But I did enjoy what I did at the advertising agency.
you were very good at it. You're great at managing people, and you worked very, very well. It might be something to think about. I'll tell you what, you look in the paper,
Okay.
I'll look on my tablet, and let's see if we can find it.
Are you sure about this?
No, not really. You never know. Oh look, here's one. Clerical assistant required in the local rag, the Chronicle. We are looking for a hard-working, organised and dedicated person who enjoys working on their own initiative. That's you. must have good people skills. Could suit an older candidate. Flexible hours could be arranged. Immediate start.
The newspaper office. It sounds interesting.
Something different. Well, you've got nothing to lose. There's an online application form here. Why don't you fill that in?
Brenda, can you send in the next candidate, please? Mrs. Dawn Lucas.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you.
They asked me to give you this.
Oh, thank you. Good morning, Mrs. Lucas.
Good morning.
Sit down, take a seat. I was most impressed, Mrs. Lucas, by your application and reference. It seems that you have considerable administrative experience. But what made you want to leave your last employment where they thought highly of you?
Well, my husband died 2 years ago, and I left my job to adjust to my new circumstances. But then I did some volunteering at the hospital. But I feel a need for new beginnings now, to move forward, if you like.
Yes, I quite understand, but why this newspaper?
Well, I know that I could never be a journalist, but the world of newspapers has always fascinated me. I think a change would challenge me, and I know I could work confidently on my own.
Like a challenge. Well, as it happens, our advice columnist, Maura Dunster, is without her assistant today, so perhaps you'd like to give that a try. Just to see if you would like working in a newspaper office. Call it a trial. See if it suits you. And we'll see if you suit us. What do you say? Good plan?
Yes, I'd like that.
Right. Come with me. Follow me and I'll take you to her office.
Thank you.
Hi there, Maura. This is Mrs. Dawn Lucas. And she's come, I think she might be the person that we're looking for. And as Tracy is absent today, I thought we'd offer her a trial. See if she likes it here.
Pleased to meet you, Mrs. Lucas, and I hope you don't find our unconventional interview techniques too off-putting for you.
No, hello, Mrs. Dunster. No, on the contrary, I'm looking forward to the day.
I'll leave her in your capable hands, Maura.
Please sit down, Mrs. Lucas, and I'll explain what we do. I answer correspondence from readers, problems, that sort of thing, and give practical advice. I decide which ones need responding, and Tracy types out the answers. And you'll find the work in that tray there.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Hello, Maura Dunster? Yes? Yes? What time? Okay, I'll see what I can do. Okay, thank you. Goodbye. Well, I'm so sorry, Mrs. Lucas. The editor has called a really urgent meeting, and I'm not quite sure how long I'm going to be, maybe some time. So I wonder if you could sort the letters, read them and sort them. Anything of a sexual nature, a bit risky, you know, just bin them. And when you finish sorting them, if you could just leave them on the table for me. I must dash. Bye.
Bye, bye. Well, the advert did say immediate start. I suppose I'd better get on with it. Dear Morag, my husband insists that he is the reincarnation of Julius Caesar. He walks around the house speaking Latin. I can put up with that, but he thinks I'm Cleopatra. Is he just playing out a fantasy when he rolls me up in the bedroom carpet? Or should I seek help for him? Ooh, I wonder what Morag will make of that one. Dear Morag, my boyfriend wants me to... Oh no, I don't think Morag would consider that at all. She's a little bit racy, did she say? Well, I think that's more than a little bit.
Hi.
Hello.
Is Laura around?
No, I'm sorry, she's gone to a meeting.
Oh. Well, I'm Tracy, by the way. Are you the temp?
No, I'm here for an interview. Well, I'm doing a trial, really. I'm Dawn.
Oh, for the interview? For the vacancy in the upstairs office? I heard they were interviewing today.
Yes, I gather you would normally be working with Mrs. Dunster with Morag.
Yes, usually. But today I've got the day off. I've got a hospital appointment. I just popped in quickly, just to ask Morag her advice on something. But I suppose it's not that important. I see she's got you reading her letters.
She has.
Some of them's a real scream.
You should see this one. Dear Morag, my neighbour has fashioned a topiary figure of a naked man, which I find quite distasteful. Furthermore, it's on the border of my garden. Would I be within my rights to chop off his bits that overhang my garden? I would be so grateful for your advice. Yours sincerely, Norma Winton.
Oh, now Morag will deal with that one. She's a bit of a feminist. Not doing with manspreading, animal or vegetable as it may be in this case.
Well, it may be borderline, but I'm sure Maura will know how to deal with it.
Yes. Well, I'm pleased I only have to type out the replies.
And I'm glad I'm only sorting them.
Oh, I must dash. I'll catch up with Morag tomorrow. Good luck with the interview anyway. Perhaps I'll be seeing you around tomorrow.
Yes, I
Bye.
hope so. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Dear Morag, my sister told me that if you drink green tea, you'll lose weight. I've been drinking it every day for a month, but I've not lost a single ounce. In fact, I've gained 3 stones. Could my sister be wrong, or should I cut back on the cake? And it's signed Marietta Gatto. That must be a pseudonym. Dear Morag, I am an older man and have fallen in love with a woman who is about my age. She is a widow, and although I believe we are compatible, I am unable to take the relationship further. I am physically ugly and cannot believe that this lady or anyone else could be interested in me. Extensive burns have disfigured my face and body. If this relationship were to develop, then this lady may be repulsed by my injuries. She herself is kind and compassionate. Could it be? Surely not. I'm afraid to reach out to her lest she reject me. Please, please tell me what I should do, Morag. I have spent many sleepless nights trying to decide what to do and have reached the point where either I must give up all hope of a loving relationship or I must act. What must I do? Yours sincerely, Colin Fairbrother. Hello? Colin, I was just about to call you.
of this hardcore yoga man.
Nor me. And I'm going to keep coming because I'm feeling so much better. And I'm sleeping as well.
Well, it's good value for money, and, well, the facilities are a bit basic. This is Peckham, not Kensington. But the teaching's good, and Helen's not strict, thank goodness. I believe she's taught here for a while.
Yes, I think you're right. Oh, but I don't like being at the front, everybody looking at me. I like to look at everybody else.
Talking about everyone else, did you notice that woman in the fancy outfit? Wasn't she here a couple of weeks ago?
Yes, I don't know who she is, though. She's not much better than us. Not like Emily, who seems to be able to get her nose up her bum and her legs behind her ears.
Yes, it is a good club, and most people are very friendly.
Yes, except for that woman in the fancy outfit. She seems a bit lardy-da, if you ask me. Rather posh. What makes you say that, Dee? Well, if anyone makes a comment, she looks right down her nose at them. And she sucks up to Helen in such a whiny voice. I bet she's doing that right at this very moment.
She hasn't come through yet. Be careful.
Have any of you ladies seen a Gucci handbag? Oh, good. I'm sure I left it in that corner over there somewhere. Oh, I'm so awfully careless with my things. It comes of being able to replace them so easily.
You should be so lucky.
Oh, it'll be here somewhere. I suppose you ladies take a great deal more care with your things.
Here it is. Someone threw their sweaty things over it from that sweaty gym.
Thank you, thank you. And your name is?
Oh, I'm Lou, and this is Chantal and
Hello.
Dee.
Hi.
We've seen you here before, but we don't know your name.
Lady Hartington. But you may call me Celia. Although, when I'm at Savoy, I insist they use my title. It's important that the staff know their place.
Do you live round here?
Yes, my husband and I have a little place not far from here, but our main residence is in Monaco. Mine, Monaco? Well, don't you find this place a little bit down market is the word I think you are looking for? Exactly. Yes, perhaps. But my husband, Lord Hartington, is a friend of the owner, so it would seem a little churlish of me not to use this place whilst we're in town.
Oh, I've never been to Monaco. Or France, come to that. What's it like?
It's full of the most amazing people, racing car drivers, film stars, that sort of thing. Fabulously rich people.
Don't suppose I'll get to live there then?
Or even visit. No, you'd feel frightfully uncomfortable, out of place. As for me, I was the daughter of a duke. Went to Belladon with Princess Anne. We were chums. So you see, I feel quite at home in Monaco.
I Are you still in contact with Princess Anne?
No, we move in different circles now. She's into show jumping, horse riding, that sort of thing, and well, I'm allergic to horses.
Did you meet the Queen?
Yes, frequently. I used to take tea with her at Buckingham Palace.
Oh, wow. I bet you had some interesting conversations with her.
Yes, but but I couldn't possibly tell you anything she said. Against protocol, you know.
Hello, Jules. How are you?
Hello, Trace.
Oh, terrible day today, isn't it? Oh,
Yeah, we're just off, actually.
oh, right. God, blimey. If it ain't Coral Finch. Where you been? I ain't seen you for ages. You must remember me. Tracy Hiscock. 5B. Oxford Road Secondary Mall.
I didn't go to that sort of school.
Oh, we used to be best pals. Always into mischief.
You must be mistaken. You must have mistaken me for someone else.
Nah.
I certainly didn't associate with anyone called Tracy Hiscock.
Yeah, brothers in arms, weren't we? Definitely Coral Finch. You still married to that tasty window cleaner? That's something or other, I think his name was.
How vulgar! I can't stay here a moment longer. Does that mean she's not the daughter of a Jew?
And she's not rich and titled.
Nah.
And she doesn't live in Monaco.
Nah, that plain old Coral Finch from Peckham. We used to call her Phaetra Finch at school. Oh, she was a great one for telling tales. And I can tell a few tales about Coral Finch. Oh, a real romancer, that one, if ever there was one.
Oh, you have to tell us next
I will. Take care. See you soon. Everybody got their Gucci handbags? It was a misty sort of night. A soft rain hung in the air, glistening on skeletal branches, with shriveled brown leaves drooping from them. The warmth of the autumn day had not yet gone completely, but travellers still shivered at the thought of winter yet to come. The wooden sign of the Capel Rope Inn creaked in the slight breeze, and the windows shone a welcoming light out into the darkness. Inside, a few regulars stood at the bar or relaxed on the soft, saggy sofas along the walls. Sheila, the landlady, was reading a newspaper. She was a large woman with a smile that gave the appearance of welcome. Although, if the patrons were to be believed, she gave that appearance of cheerful good humour, she could give a sharp tongue lashing to any whom she thought deserved it, as her long-suffering husband knew only too well.
Listen to this.
She said loudly with a soft accent.
The police are still hunting for businessman Alfred Peters, who's wanted in connection with the death of his third wife. It says here she died when a car went off the road, but she was a rally car driver. The weather was fine, and the accident happened on a supposedly well-maintained stretch of road. It makes you wonder what happened to wives 1 and 2. This report doesn't mention them. According to this, he's a wealthy businessman who seems to have been quite successful, although I would think now his investors would be pulling out their money if they haven't already lost it. Good thing I didn't invest in him. I wouldn't like to lose my money.
A murmur of laughter went around the room, although it was quickly stifled. After all, they all knew Sheila was not the type of person to invest money, and no one wanted to be on the wrong side of her tongue if she took offence at their mirth. Just then, the door opened. The wind was stronger, bringing in a shower of decaying leaves and sparkling raindrops. A man stood there, his raincoat dripping, leaving a puddle forming on the tiles. He looked around at the tired decor, noting the worn flooring and the tobacco stains darkening the ceiling. Walking slowly towards the bar, he approached Sheila, speaking in a soft voice that forced her to lean forward to catch what he was saying.
I telephoned earlier and reserved a table and a room for tonight. The name is Clark, with an E.
Sheila shivered slightly. There was something about him. He didn't look like the travelling salesman who normally stayed for a night on their way to a large town. He did not appear to have any samples with him at all.
Yes, of course, Mr. Clark. Will you come this way to sign the register, please? And then I'll show you to your room. Where are you headed? It's not often that we get new reps. Most of our customers have been coming here for years.
He just grunted at this and gave her a look that deterred any further inquiries.
Would you like to go to your room first, sir? Or would you like a drink by the fire and get warmed up? After all, it's a nasty night out there.
Without answering, he strode back towards the saloon.
I'll have a pint of that,
He pointed to one of the brightly coloured pumps lining the bar.
and I'll have it over there, by the fire, along with my meal, if you don't mind.
He indicated a table at the end of the bar where a large fire burned brightly.
Go and sit yourself down, sir, and I'll bring it over to you.
She poured a pint of light amber liquid into a glass and carried it to his table.
My husband will be out to serve you directly. The menu's here on the table, and if you need anything else, just let me know.
Calling her husband to come and serve, she went back to her favourite spot at the bar and resumed her one-sided conversation, as if nothing had interrupted her train of thought.
Pity they didn't think to put a better photo. This just shows a man in a hat, could be anyone. Mind you, he's probably out of the country by now. They'll never catch him.
Without waiting for a response, she continued.
Well, what do you expect? He's loaded, and he'll have a new passport by now. They always get away with it, don't they?
I thought he might have been in the corner.
What's that Rose, speak up, I can't hear you.
I said it's a pity he's not here. A night in the judge's chamber would soon sort him out.
Replied Rose. There was a sudden hush in the bar, and the air chilled as they waited for a reaction to this.
Hush up now. Everybody knows that's just an old wives' tale, made to frighten children. It's complete nonsense, and I don't want any more of it in here, thank you very much.
The stranger, who had been sitting quietly drinking his ale, looked up and waited to hear what else would be said. However, Rose went back to her drink, and the talk went back to village gossip and the price of wheat. A little while later, the stranger got up from his seat and ordered another glass of ale.
What was all that about?
He inquired in his soft voice.
It's nothing, sir, just a silly tale made up by the locals.
Responded Sheila, moving further down the bar to serve another customer. Mr. Clark spotted Rose sitting quietly in the corner, nursing her drink, and sat on an empty seat next to her.
The landlady seems a trifle put out by your remark earlier.
Oh, pay no heed to her. She doesn't like to talk about it. Thinks it will scare away customers if they knew. This place used to be the local assizes about 200 years ago. That's why it's called the Cat and Rope. The judge is said to have hung all guilty men. He was supposed to be able to tell if someone was innocent after they spent a night in the cells even. It's said he still haunts the bar and still sits in judgment on all those who are guilty.
Well, what do you think? After all, you live here.
I lived in the village all my life, and I had heard stories about the hanging judge, but I've never seen him for myself, and I don't think I would like to. But as to whether he haunts this place, I wouldn't like to say. All I know is, you couldn't pay me enough to spend a night in the judge's chamber.
With that, Rose turned away from him and got up to go to the bar. Mr. Clark returned to his table. Sitting by the fire, he sat supping his glass of ale. He seemed to be far away, only briefly acknowledging Sheila's presence when she came to clear away the table and asked if he wanted another drink. Eventually, Sheila came over to tell him that the bar was now closing. He looked up with a start.
I hadn't realised it was so late. It has been a very pleasant evening. Now I should go to my room. I hope it's not the one, Rose, called the judge's chamber. I should be loath to be judged for my past mistakes.
His smile seemed somehow false to Sheila, as if he was wearing a mask that hid his true nature. She suppressed a shudder.
Of course not. As I said, it's only a silly tale. There's no bogeyman in this house.
She stopped in front of a room at the end of the passageway.
Anyway, this is your room. I hope you have a good night's sleep. Breakfast is from 7:30 to 9. Good night, sir.
With that, she left, and he heard her footsteps receding down the hall, and the sound of a door closing, leaving a soft silence in its wake. The room was of a reasonable size, if rather old-fashioned. The large bed was covered with a puffy eiderdown. The dark wood dresser with a wash basin and jug could have been there since the last century, and the heavy oak wardrobe almost seemed to have been built into the room. A dying fire nestled in one corner, the glow from the embers sending shadows across the ceiling. The traveller undressed and climbed into a warm bed. He felt slightly woozy, as if he had consumed too much alcohol.
It must have been stronger than I thought.
He muttered to himself as he drifted off to sleep. He woke up suddenly, a feeling of dread invading his mind. Looking round, it seemed as if the room had taken on a new shape. He reached out for the light switch to turn on the bedside lamp, only to feel a heavy weight on his wrist.
What the?
He began. As he struggled to understand what was going on, a voice came out from the darkness.
You are Henry Alfred Peters. You were born on the 24th of July 1927 in East Hopeley. You are here today charged with the willful murder of Alice Maud Peters, Sarah Ann Peters, and Judith Cheryl Peters. You stand here before me and these witnesses to answer these charges.
As the voice spoke, a glow emanated from the far side of the room, showing a bench with a judge seated behind it. He had a rope at one side and a black triangular cloth on the other. Henry felt as though he was held by heavy chains and was unable to move. He was sure he was in some kind of nightmare and told himself to wake up. The judge's next words sent a cold shiver down his spine.
Henry Alfred Peters, if found guilty, you will be taken from this place and hung by the neck until dead. Your body will then be hung in a cage and left for the crows as a warning to others. If, however, you plead guilty and throw yourself on the mercy of this court, your life will be spared. Have you anything to say?
This is some kind of nightmare. I don't believe in ghosts, and you can't hang me without proof. And I know you don't have any proof. I did not kill anyone.
Call the first witness.
A second figure emerged slowly.
Why did you have to do it, Henry? I would have given you the money. You could have had everything. I didn't deserve to be put in the cold, cold water. Those heavy stones weighing me down.
Henry was horrified.
Alice, that can't be you. You can't come back. I won't let you. You're not real. None of this is real.
She began to glide towards him. Cold, wet arms reached out to him, and wet lips brushed his cheeks. He could feel the icy water coming up his legs. He was sinking down.
Call the second witness.
The voice intoned.
Alfred Henry, I should have known you wouldn't come back for me. My mother warned me about you. She said you only wanted my money, and that when I made a will leaving everything to you, that I would live to regret it. Only I didn't live, did I? You left me to die horribly. You should have been there to save me. Why did you leave me?
A blackened skeletal figure swept towards him. Sharp nails raked his hands and clawed at his chest. Alfred felt as though he was in a fire and being burned alive.
Sarah, I never meant to hurt you. I was just too late. You know I loved you. Please, don't do this to me. It's not my fault.
The voice reverberated again.
Call the final witness.
No more. I can't take any more. Make it stop, I'm begging you. Take them away.
But Judith appeared. She was almost unrecognizable. Blood was pouring from the many cuts on her once attractive face.
Alfred, why did you cut the brakes? What did I ever do except love you?
She floated across the room as she approached him. He felt as though he was being cut by 1,000 shards of glass, and warm blood flowed down his face and into his eyes, making it hard to see.
Please, all of you, just leave me alone. It's not my fault and I didn't mean to do it.
Screamed Alfred. The judge picked up his black cap and placed it on his head, banged his gavel, and in a stern voice pronounced the words,
Alfred Henry Peters, I find you guilty on all counts. Take him away.
The judge began to fade, as did the courtroom. Alfred was back in his bed in the cap and rope in.
Thank goodness, that's over. It must have been that beer. I thought it had a strange taste. Well, I will complain to that landlady in the morning, and I'll serve her for serving bad beer.
He lay down, intending to go back to sleep, but then sat up again as 3 white shapes came towards him.
I must still be dreaming. That beer was worse than I thought.
He tried to open his eyes, only to find they were already open. He was wide awake. The judge's voice rang out.
You have been found guilty on all charges. However, your victims have begged for clemency for you, so I will leave you in their merciful hands. The consequences of your actions will remain with you for the rest of your natural life.
His wives surrounded the bed, smothering his screams. The next morning, Sheila answered a knock on the back door.
Thank you for coming to the back door, Doctor. I wouldn't want my guests disturbed by the sight of a private ambulance. When I phoned Dr. Newman, I realised it would be transferred to you. It's as I told you. When I went to call him for breakfast, he was curled up in the corner sobbing and calling someone to take them away. He kept on about being guilty. He seems to think he's on fire one minute, then drowning and screaming about being cut. I don't understand it. He said he was a travelling salesman. Haven't seen him before. He signed in as Mr. Clark with an E. Mind you, when I look at the details he gave, they seem to have changed. They don't make sense. He's written hell as his address. Even his name is not the same look.
She pointed at an entry in the register with a shaky finger.
Henry Alfred Peters. That's the man the police are looking for, isn't it?
She paused and looked around as if afraid of being overheard.
He won't be able to escape and come after me, will he?
The doctor smiled and spoke in a deep voice.
I can assure you that Mr. Clark or Mr. Peters will be safe in our care. We'll make sure he is well looked after. We take very good care of all our guests.
He turned his head to look at Alfred, who regarded him with horror, his body shaking, as the doctor and his 3 attendants encircled him and led him out to the waiting ambulance, while he alternatively screamed and wept for mercy, shouting,
I didn't mean it! It wasn't my fault!
Sarah, you can drive. Alice, you make sure our new guest is comfortable during his journey. I'm confident between you and Judith, our guest will be perfectly safe.
The doctor laid a reassuring hand on Sheila's arm.
We will take it from here. You go back to your duties and don't worry about a thing.
Well, I don't know. It seems like Rose might have been right about the judge's chamber after all. Now I wonder, how can I make a bit of extra cash out of a tale like this?
Said Sheila reflectively as she turned and walked back into the bar. I'm going to read a poem I actually wrote, so not sure how good it is. It's something that when I was a small child I used to read a lot of poetry, and one by Robert Louis Stevenson called Land of the Counterpane really stayed with me, and this is based on that poem. It's called Dreaming. I had such an adventure last night. I sailed my ship far and wide across the 7 seas. I trawled the Spanish Main and dug up buried treasure in my coat of silver and gold with lace at my throat. Then on across the sky I flew to a golden beach where gentle waves lapped peacefully. I gathered up stray seashells and strung them around my neck while the warm sun soothed me and quiet music played. I walked along a path to find a leafy glade lying there in front of me, where fairies danced and drank from flower cups, and mother birds snuggled softly down on feathered nests. The soft grass tickled at my bare feet as I looked down, dressed only in my nightgown. The thump of a tail and the rasp of a tongue as my faithful dog looked down on me. It's time to get out, the day has begun, and I really do need to go for a run.
I've chosen a poem called Just In Case by Janet Byrne, and I'm sure it's something you will probably relate to. I like to think I'm a seasoned traveller, but very often have doubts when that suitcase comes out. Holidays are here at last, time for a well-earned break. But now my problems really start, because I don't know what to take. I've packed a dozen t-shirts, in case it will be hot. But the climate is so changeable. What happens if it's not? Perhaps I'll take some sweaters. Best be safe, not sorry. And at least one pair of boots. Oh, packing's such a worry. I think I'd better take a coat, in case the temperature falls. The last thing I want on holiday is to chase round shopping malls. I've taken out the t-shirts now and replaced them with my Mac, plus a hat, warm gloves and woolly scarf. Oh, how I hate to pack. Too late, a heat waves forecast, but we're already on our way. And all I've packed are winter clothes for a summer holiday.
Well, I'm sure that you all have a special day every year where you celebrate your birthday, a year of getting older. Do you really want to get older? You haven't got the ability and the strength to do the things that you always enjoyed. And then, if you do try and do those things still, the younger generation call you a silly old fool. Well, Lewis Carroll has written a little bit in Alice in Wonderland about old Father William. So we're going to recite that to you.
I'm Father William.
You are old, Father William, said the youth, and your hair has grown so terribly white, and yet you insistently stand on your head. Do you think at your age it is right?
In my youth, Father William replied to his son, I feared it may injure the brain, but now I'm perfectly sure I have none. Why? I do it again and again.
You are old, the youth said, as I mentioned before. You have become uncommonly fat, and yet you turned us back somersault in at the door. Pray, what is the reason for that?
In my youth, said the sage as he shook his grey locks, I kept all my limbs very supple. With the age of this ointment, 1 shilling the box. Allow me to sell you a couple.
You are old, said the youth, and your jaw is too weak to tackle anything but suet. Yet you tackled that goose with the bones and the beak. Pray, how did you manage to do it?
In my youth, said his father, I took to the law and argued each case with my wife, and the muscular strength that it gave to my jaw has lasted the rest of my life.
You are old, said the youth. One would hardly suppose that your eye is as steady as ever. Yet you balanced an ear on the end of your nose. Pray, what makes you so awfully clever?
I have answered 3 questions, and that is enough. Said his father, don't give yourself airs. Do you think I've got all day for such stuff? Be off or I'll kick you downstairs.
This is one of Hilaire Belloc's cautionary tales. It's about someone who is entitled and arrogant. Might remind you of someone in the public domain. It's called Godolphin Horne, who was cursed with the sin of pride and became a bootblack. Godolphin Horne was nobly born. He held the human race in scorn and lived with all his sisters where his father lived, in Berkeley Square. And oh, the lad was deathly proud. He never shook hand or bowed, but merely smirked and nodded thus. How perfectly ridiculous. Alas, that such affected tricks should flourish in a child of 6, for such was young Godolphin's age. Just then the court required a page, whereat the Lord High Chamberlain, the kindest and the best of men, he went good-naturedly and took a perfectly enormous book called People Qualified to be Attendant on His Majesty, and murmured, as he scanned the list, to see that no one should be missed. There's William Cutts has got the flu, and Billy Higgs would never do. And Guy de Vere is far too young, and wasn't Dorton's father hung? And as for Alexander Byng, I think I know the kind of thing a churchman, cleanly, nobly born. Come, let us say, Godolphin Horn. But hardly had he said the word, when murmurs of dissent were heard. The King of Iceland's eldest son said, "Thank you, I am taking none." The aged Duchess of Athlone remarked in her sub-acid tone, "I doubt if he is what we need," with which the bishops all agreed, and even Lady Mary Flood, so kind and oh, so really good, said, "No, he wouldn't do at all. He'd make us feel a lot too small." The Chamberlain said, "Well, well, well, no doubt you're right. One cannot tell." He took his gold and diamond pen and scratched Godolphin out again. So now Godolphin is the boy who blacks the boots at the Savoy.
My poem's a little bit more serious, but it's a poem that I really love. It means a lot to me. I've always been a bit of a rebel and not really ever wanted to do the traditional thing. And having read this poem in my 20s, it sort of reassured me. It's called The Road Not Taken, and it's by Robert Frost. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry that I could not travel both and be one traveller, long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads to way, I doubted that I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference.
And finally, my poem is by Pam Ayres, and it's called 50 Shades of Grey, A Husband's Point of View. The missus bought a paper bag down Shepton Mallet way. I had a look inside her bag, 'twas 50 shades of grey. Well, I just left her to it, and at 10 I went to bed. An hour later she appeared. The sight filled me with dread. In her left she held a rope, and in her right a whip. She threw them down upon the floor, and then
began to strip. Well, 50 years or so ago, I might have had a peek, but Mabel hasn't weathered well. She's 84 next week. Watching Mabel bump and grind could not have been much grimmer. And things went from bad to worst. She toppled off her Zimmer. She struggled back upon her feet a couple of minutes later. She put her teeth back in and said, "I am a dominator." Now, if you knew our Mabel, you see just why I spluttered. I'd spent 2 months in traction for the last complaint I uttered. She stood there nude and naked, bent forward just a bit. I went toward her sensual like and stood on her left. Mabel screamed, her teeth shot out. My God, what had I done? She moaned and groaned, then shouted out, "Step on the other one!" Well, listeners, I can tell no more about what occurred that day. Suffice to say, my jet black hair turned 50 shades of grey.
Thank you very much for coming this evening. We hope that you've enjoyed our presentation, and we also hope that you're going to enjoy the home baking now. So we'll be making drinks in the kitchen. Okay, as Wendy said earlier, there'll be kitchens, there'll be drinks and cakes in the kitchen. Okay, for a school child. Thank you.